Hey everybody, how's it going today? Today we have the MT7 we're going to be taking a look at. So I got this bike the end of last season, and we're going to be going over today some of the things I like about it, some of the things that, you know, maybe aren't the best, but we'll do more of that in the rider review. So this is mostly going from front to back, like we usually do, talking about brakes, suspension, some features of the bike, such like that, horsepower, things like that. So let's start with some of the specs here. This is a 689cc CP2 motor from Yamaha, and it's making about 75 horsepower in just about almost exactly 50 foot-pounds of torque from what the specs say. And this bike is not cosmetically perfect, as you can tell. This has been painted by the previous owner, and we'll talk about that too here in a bit. Should you buy a motorcycle that is not cosmetically perfect? This is a 2021, and I was able to get it for a good price, and I'll be able to pass that savings on to the next person when I do eventually sell this. If I'm looking, I may move into like an XSR 900 or MT09 at some point, but I do love this motorcycle. So let's take a look at it here. So we got dual front disc brakes, and there are unbranded calipers on here with ABS wire coming down there. Here's the other side here. As you can see, there's some damage here on this side from the previous owner, who was he had dropped this bike on, I believe it looks like on both sides. There's some scratching right here, and this right here piece of plastic's missing right there, but it's held on just fine by the rest. But you can replace this little plastic fender. Looked for a set of plastics on this, and for a full set of plastics you can get them for a few $100 if I want to go that route. But I enjoy riding it how it is right now. So the forks are, you know, everything's in good shape though, everything's straight. Runs and drives amazing. There's only like 4,000 miles in this motorcycle. We'll look at that later. So there's not upside down forks on this. This is standard forks on this guy. The scratching down there. And this is, you know, when you inspect a used motorcycle, these are all things you want to look for when you're buying, because you don't want to pay full price for something where there's some damage. You want to be able to get a discount, which is what I did with this. So we've got pro taper bars on here, which are very interesting. You're leaned a little bit more forward on this than you would normally. A little more canted because of the way the bar angle is. And here we've got your radiator. Kind of a little bit of a smaller radiator, but it's only a 2-cylinder motor. This side here, you'll notice that this is canted up a bit because of being dumped in this side, so I could replace this if you wanted to get this all even, but it's sitting there fine. All right, we got a little mark right there, you see, from falling over there. I might do a little black paint right there to just touch that up, which would be easy enough. Here's a little bit of marking right here, seeing right there on the motor from coming down the side. Everything else is pretty straight, pretty good. Levers all good, pipes all look good. This has an Akrapovic exhaust on it, which is we will be listening to in a minute here, and it is super loud and sounds really good. I was quite amazed by the sound of that exhaust. All right, yeah, here you see a little bit of evidence of that, some evidence that I dropped there. Could use a new badge there, but I would just do this whole plastic piece if I was replacing it. And need a little bar end here, little bar end mirror probably. And he painted all this to kind of match, so we did like that army green and everything. We've got the stock tires on here still, because we don't have, as far as I know, because there's not many miles on this bike. These are Michelin Road 2s, I believe, if I can find it. Yeah, let's see right there, Road 2s, Michelin Road 2s. I haven't really checked the brakes in this much because there's just not many miles in this bike. But yeah, you can check your brakes, as I say in all my review videos, or how to buy a used bike. If you want to check those out, I'll put a link down in the description. But you always check your brake pads on used bikes that have any kind of significant mileage on them, because you want to know if you have to do those, right? So here's the rear tire back here. She's getting just a little bit squared off, if you can tell right there, see? Just a little bit. Got your single disc brake back here, and the back one here is labeled Nissan. The front are unlabeled. And I believe this is a 180 tire, unless I'm mistaken, which is pretty large for a small bike like this. All right, and I just did my chain maintenance here. Put some mold tool, just, you know, clean the chain with the grunge brush and all that good stuff. Did mold tool chain paste, which I do like because it seems to have less fling and doesn't make a big huge mess all over everything, right? And here's your other shift lever. As I always say, make sure everything's tight and good. No quick shifter in this, of course. Yep, everything's tight and good on there. Make sure you always check that kind of stuff when you're looking at used bikes. The shifting on this is not extremely smooth, but it's just about right. I mean, it's not smooth like you'd get on a quick shifter or something like that, of course, because it doesn't have one. But you can go through, you know, you can let off the throttle up there. You can let off, and like you can with any bike, and shift through. I have a Honda CB1100, which I think will come out. The video will come out before this, talking about the Walkaround, and that shifter is incredibly smooth. This one is not as smooth as that, but it works great. And what else can we talk about here? Turn on the dash, take a look at that. We need to listen to this bad boy too. You got your 2021 dash, almost full on gas, and you can adjust the brightness on this, but you have to do that. Maybe I'll make a separate little tutorial on that. You have to do that when you turn the key over, and then you hold that button down, and it gives you the options to do that. So run through here. Got an air temperature, which I do appreciate. When you have that, you can see how cold it is out, which is actually pretty nice when you're riding for a while, and you're starting to kind of wonder, man, how cold is it out here, right? That's your, it says low because I ran the bike a bit, but it didn't warm up a whole lot. There's your miles per gallon, just about 50 in the sky. I think it gets a little more than that, but that's what it says there. And there's your trip 2. That is my current oil change that I did. And just zeroed that out. There you go. That's what you get on that. There's your gear indicator. Nice to have a gear indicator. A lot of older bikes didn't have that, as you guys know. A lot of the ones that have been on the channel here haven't had a gear indicator, so that was a very nice feature. You got your dummy gauges and such here. This bike has ABS, like we talked about earlier. And let's give it a listen. You don't have to pull the clutch in to start this bike, but it does need to be in neutral. All right. So that, yeah, that is an incredible sounding exhaust for a parallel twin. I don't think I've ever heard a parallel twin sound like that in anything else that I've owned. I mean, not even close. That Akrapovic is honestly a little too loud for me. I think if I'm being totally honest, I think that Akrapovic is probably, if I was going to put an exhaust on myself, it'd probably be one that has that tone, maybe like that, but not that volume. Like when I'm riding it around at night, like late at night, and I'm going through a neighborhood or something, like I kind of feel bad. Like it's kind of rough, right? It's a little loud, but you know, to each their own. And it sounds great. So if you want to know how the Akrapovic exhausts, this, I believe this is a full system, are on sound on MT07s. This is how they sound. They sound really loud and really deep and really throaty. So sounds really good. So there it is again there. Little close-up's a little shorty, just a little tiny dude. And you're not gonna have any problems scraping that on the ground like I had at the CB1100 we talked about the other day, because here's your peg and here's your exhaust, right? So what's gonna touch first? I don't know, probably the peg. There's no feelers on the bottom of this one right now. They got taken off by the previous owner. Probably should replace that. All right, so what else can we talk about? I think that's about it. Did its oil change here. It's got a pretty fresh oil change. The tires are in good shape. The bike runs and drives excellent. It's just not in cosmetically perfect shape. The previous owner was probably trying to do some wheelies on it, stuff like that, I would imagine. And probably looks like had a couple of low speed spills. Not anything too high speed, because there's not like, you know, the frame and everything and swing arm and everything looks good. It's just a couple of some tip overs here with, you know, like little like damage like that there and things like that there and stuff like that. But if you can find a bike that has some cosmetic damage but it runs and drives excellent, you can get a good deal on it. That's great. And if you don't mind about the cosmetics, you just want a great running and driving motorcycle with low miles, then go for it. Just make sure you test ride it. Everything rides good, and this one rides and drives excellent. So, oh yeah, this bag back here. This is a little, if you guys are wondering what this is a little Oxford waterproof bag, which I use to, like, when I go to the gym, put water and shoes and stuff in it, or like a t-shirt or something like that. And it's just big enough for that kind of stuff, but if you're going to do anything more than that, you really need the bigger size. Yeah, so but these work really good. They are waterproof. I really do like this. This kind of just stays on the bike all the time. Runs great. I got what's this in the back? Yeah, the back here we got integrated rear turn signals on this guy, and that's about it. Yeah, it's got this custom levers on it and stuff, adjustable levers. They don't come like that, of course, but you can buy these for them. I've been riding it for quite a bit, and I got to say that this is probably the most fun. This is probably the most fun motorcycle that I've had in the last couple of years. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting, you know, I got the speed triple and stuff too, but this is just really fun around town, fun on the back roads. It doesn't weigh anything really, so like if it ever tipped over, which I haven't tipped over, but if it ever did, you could pick it up easy, and it's really easy to counterbalance for slow speed maneuvers, you know, weighting the outside peg, doing U-turns and such. Never have a problem with that. The turning radius is incredibly tight on this for low speed maneuvers. It's just a good motorcycle. Is the suspension perfect? No. Are the brakes perfect? No. The brakes, like, they don't bite right away, but we'll talk about this on the ride review somewhere. They don't have like an immediate bite like the Speed Triple does, like the Triumph stuff. It kind of, you have to build up pressure and then, you know, then it bites in. But hey, for the price of these motorcycles, these are absolutely excellent bikes in my opinion. Do you even need to move up to the 900 for around the street, around town? Probably not, to be honest with you. It's just maybe you want a little bigger motor, maybe a little better suspension and brakes and such, but you can do suspension upgrades on this too, which, oh yeah, shout out to, if you live in Wisconsin here, shout out to Kyle Boost, who does suspension upgrades on these MT7s, and he just did one, I saw on Facebook, and he offered, you know, to do it to this one too. And if I do keep this long term, I'm gonna have that done, because upgrades in suspension make this a real nice ride. And there's not so much dive when you're trying to brake into corners and stuff, you know, and yeah, when you're going hard, but I don't ride that hard anyway. So, all that being said, I better let you guys go. If you liked the video, please give it a like for the algorithm and subscribe, and we'll keep building the channel together here. And look for the ride review coming up soon on this bike and the Honda CB1100, which we have to do yet. It is getting a little dark out though, so we better finish this video up. We will talk to you guys later. Have a great one.